Hey. I ask my students, if you don't know, I'm a teacher, when I ask my students what success looks like, and I'm like, hey, what does success look like to you, right? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be successful. What does success look like to you? And a lot of my students, they tell me success means having the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want, right? Like having the ability to buy whatever you want and to go wherever you want. And to them, that is success. And I think that's a stereotype. I think there's more to success than just that, even in their minds. But when we ask ourselves the questions, am I successful? What do we actually look at? What do we usually look at, right? Like, don't we usually compare ourselves to what other people have, how other people are living their lives? Don't we often feel sad that we're not at a place that somebody else is at? Like maybe financially we're not at a place that somebody else is at. In terms of our relationships, we're not at a place where somebody else is at. In terms of our family relationships or romantic relationships, we're not at a place where somebody else is at. And we feel like we don't have. But that's actually a source of unhappiness. I think I've learned over the years that comparing yourself to other people, especially when like you have no idea what their life is actually like, and they have no idea what your life is actually like, and I think it puts your mind and my mind, if I do it, in a really, really, really dark place. And it's almost something that you do that would cause you to literally give up on yourself. I've literally had the feeling of, man, like they have so much and they've made so much money or whatever, and they have that house, they have that car or whatever, and I try not to look at them because looking at those people makes me feel bad about myself. And what do? I go and I shut myself off and I go play a computer game, I go, I don't know, watch a cartoon, and I avoid. I dig myself into a hole. If I'm looking at someone and they have what I want and the way I respond to that is by running away, then at the end of the day, living life like that really sucks. And this is hard to change. You know why it's hard to change? Because that's what success has been for me for 15 years. I wasn't the most popular kid when I was in high school. What did I do? I had my grades. That was the one source of self-esteem that kind of kept me going. I would literally be happy because my grades are better than my friends. And there would always be that one friend whose grades are always better than me, but just like a little bit, and I would always be like, oh, dang it. In my mind, I'd be like, ah. I can't believe that was how I got my sense of self-worth, by comparing myself to other people with a metric that ultimately didn't matter as soon as I graduated high school. I mean, I remember in every single one of my classes, every 2 weeks our teachers would update the back of the classroom with a list of grades, and we would get to see everybody, and I remember I would see, okay, like there are 5 people better than me, there are 7 people better than me. Sometimes I'd be like, yeah, I'm like the top 5. I would get a sense of pride from something that ultimately didn't matter. For me, going into university was a sort of awakening. I didn't do as well as I thought I would do anymore. I was no longer somebody that could solely pride myself on my grades. University was the time when I played a lot of video games. University was literally like World of Warcraft every Friday, 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Can't believe how much time I sank into video games. I always thought that as long as I got good grades, my life would work out, and I had believed that without really ever knowing or like realizing that it's my life and that I have control over my life, and that if I don't do anything with my life, nothing will happen with my life. But it was a clear moment for me. I think at that point in time, I was probably in my 5th accounting class in university, and I had gotten to the state where I would just show up and I would just sit there. Like I would just lean back and sit there and just look at the prof like this. I think that's what did it for me. It was sitting in university realizing that my grades weren't as good as they used to. I was playing video games a lot, and all of a sudden I realized that I just didn't want to live life that way. And so moving on to my 4th year, I remember I had one more elective class I had to take. I remember talking to my friend who is going to become a teacher, and he was like, why don't you take this elective education class with me? And so I was in my mind, I was like, why not? I looked online, the prof seemed like an easygoing guy, like it seemed like an easy A, an easy class, which by the way, I did get an A in, right? Like, and I was like, why not? Why not, right? Like, let's do it. I remember walking in and the prof asked a question to the, I don't remember what was happening, but like the prof was teaching something and then he asked a question and then a bunch of people raised their hands to answer, and then there was discussion, and then like people had fire in their eyes. Like, I came from a classroom in business school where we got marks if we answered, and that was like the only reason why we would raise our hand and answer. But I was in the education class and there must have been like 40 people in that class, and when the teacher told the group to discuss, like literally every group went and discussed, and I was like talking to my friend, I was like, what is happening? Like, why is everybody like this? Like, where is this passion coming from? And you know what my friend said? He was like, people don't usually become teachers because they want to make the money. You kind of actually have to like it. And I was like, oh. And so that's what planted the seed in my head. And when I graduated university, I got a chance to do a bit of accounting for a few months for a non-profit organization. And there was the first time when I sat there and I looked at the clock every single day. You know, in that moment when you walk in at 9 and you do a little bit of work, you look at the clock, it's like 10 o'clock and you're like, when is it lunch? And then it's like lunch, and you have lunch and you come back and you like, I just had lunch, I don't feel like doing anything, and you know, like it's like 1 o'clock, there's only 3 hours until I can get off work, and so nothing really ever gets done in those 3 hours. That was the feeling, right? So I decided to become a teacher, not because I was passionate for education per se, but more so because I knew I wasn't passionate for accounting. And so a lot of people are like, yeah, follow your passion, follow your dreams, right? Like, do what you like, right? I didn't have that, right? Education wasn't my passion. I don't think I discovered it. Like, when I discovered education, I don't think it was my passion. I mean, now when I look at it, like, it's something that I want to get better at. It's something that I want to do, and it's something that I'm exploring to see what I can create out of this area that I've chosen, but it was never a passion for me in the beginning. And so I think success, the definition of success, really changed for me since I got into education. Because have I had bad days? Yeah. Have I had days where I didn't want to go to work? Yeah. Have I had days where I slacked off? Yeah. But have I also had good days? Yeah. Have I also had days where I connected really well with a student and I was really happy? Yeah. Have I had days where students thanked me, and in that moment I was like, yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Yeah, of course. So at the end of the day, I want to ask you this question. Have I defined success for you? No. And that's what I mean. I don't think you should let somebody else define success for you, because at the end of the day, success, it's what makes you happy. It's what makes you joyful. It's you finding the place that you're supposed to be in the world. It's you finding the value you're supposed to give in the world. And truly, truly, I believe from the bottom of my heart that success and the happiness that comes from success, and you can test it out yourself, but I believe that the happiness that comes from success comes from a success that gives instead of the success that takes. For me, when I was in high school and a little bit into university, I was confused because I thought success meant me getting these grades. Success meant me getting into this university. And into university, I thought success meant that I got whatever I wanted. And that's why I went and I played video games, and that's why I went to class and I didn't care. But now as I get older, I realize that what makes me happy the most, and I've confirmed this with many other people, what makes them happy the most is the fact that they found an area where they can show their talents and give value to those around them. to serve and to help and to save in some cases, and to build and to grow. I think success comes from the ability to create instead of the ability to consume. And I wish that I would have learned this lesson earlier, that success was not about me. The success was not about me getting any stuff, anything. The success was all about me growing myself to become somebody that can give more and more and more. And I deeply believe that if I do that, then I'd be putting myself on the path to success. But I'm curious, what does success look like for you right now at this stage of your life? Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear your comments below. And hey, if you want to connect with me and have a conversation, subscribe and like my videos, and I will let you know the next time something like this happens. Bye.